Welcome in to this edition of The Fuel and your live review of the 2023 GEICO 500 at the Talladega Superspeedway. I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest here. I don't really even want to do this fucking review. Because it feels like we got fucking screwed yet again at a super speedway out of a good finish because of dumb shit late and then the fucking overtimes. I mean, I honestly feel like I'm spinning my wheels right now. Because, as you can see by the title of this episode, I rest my case. Because I have said for weeks now that we need to get rid of the overtimes. And hell, earlier today in my Xfinity review, I said we need to stop with the light blocks because all they do is cause massive accidents. And what happens? We get both in the same fucking race today. I mean, it honestly feels like an instant replay of the Daytona 500, where we had the absurd number of lead changes as we usually did. I think this race actually set the season high for lead changes in 2023. And it was clean for the most part. I mean, here, let's go ahead and just take a look at the stats. Look at these numbers. 57 lead changes, which is the high for this season. 34 of them were pure lead changes. Now, you could argue that it was mainly because of the two lanes shifting back and forth and one just getting in front of the other. But a pure lead change is a pure lead change. 15,000 green flag passes. I don't even know if I've seen a number like that as far as green flag passes are concerned. Like, that may be the highest number I have seen to date. You know what? I want to go back to the 2020 GEICO 500. You know, a race that I gave a perfect 10 out of 10 for. And I want to see if the loop data is available for that. Because I want to check out and see what those stats were. So here we are. It's the one that Ryan Blaney won. Wow, same exact number of lead changes, 57. And in this one, we had almost 12,000 green flag passes. In this one, we had 15,000. So this race had the same number of overall lead changes and more green flag passes than we did in the 2020 GEICO 500. So, the first stage, it was alright. You had Bubba Wallace leading a lot of it. And we had a couple of cautions. One was right off the bat. Mike McDowell lost a right rear tire. Which I don't know how the hell that happens. And then we had a couple of spins going down pit road for green flag pit stops. One was Tyler Reddick, who got some damage, and then Chase Briscoe spun like Reddick. But at first we thought, maybe because he couldn't get off of pit road because the car was stuck, we were thinking, well, maybe he, probably locked up a brake or something like that and it seized up on him. But no, the right front went down and it got stuck on the splitter and wasn't able to go anywhere, so that brought the caution out. So there was that. But overall in stage 1 we had 9 pure lead changes, so some good competition. Chase Elliott won stage 1. And I was thinking to myself, man, that'd be one hell of a way to make a comeback after breaking your leg and missing 6 weeks. But then we got the start of stage 2, and this was obviously the best stage of the entire race. I mean, it was just lead change after lead change after lead change, and then eventually we had a third lane appear, and Bubba Wallace took it all the way to the front. I mean, we had so many pure lead changes during this section of the race, and it went caution free through stage 2. And we had green flag pit stops as well. And Eric Almirola, an absolute masterful slingshot maneuver around Chase Elliott through the tri-oval and got by him, timed it perfectly to get the stage 2 win. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're setting up for something spectacular here. Then we go to stage 3. You had Harrison Burton and Ryan Blaney going back and forth, and Noah Gragson was helping Burton along. But then we had our third caution on lap 142 when Gragson gives Burton a little bit of gives him one bump too many. Although it looked like from one camera angle that Harrison Burton went over a bump that's in turn 3 and that upset the car. And with Gragson right on his bumper trying to give him a push, because, bump drafting, that's what sent him around. And there were several cars involved, including Zane Smith, Austin Dillon, Austin Hill, and Smith and Dillon were pretty much done for the day. So then we get the restart with 41 laps to go. Ryan Blaney is leading that inside lane and is doing a masterful job basically feathering the throttle while in the front to save gas. Whereas you have Ty Gibbs on the outside and he's pretty much wide open, and it's back and forth between those guys. Several times the third lane tries to make an appearance and come up towards the front. And then you had Chase Elliott coming towards the front in the third lane with 9 laps to go. And it's looking like we're going to get a long green flag run to end this race. And I'm thinking to myself, if we get this long green flag run, we get a great finish. This is going to be easily the best race that we've had so far this season, without question. And then the fourth caution comes out on lap 184. And this is when the race just went down the fucking shitter. Logano gets turned in turn 2 off by LaJoie because he was on the very, very outside. LaJoie gets into him a little bit, spins him out. LaJoie, Stenhouse, Suarez were all involved, and I'm just like, God damn it. We were going to have a long green flag run to end this race. And now we're going into overtime. Whoop-de-fucking-do. And of course, as per the usual, the overtime was complete and total dog shit. As per the usual. Blaney leads on the first overtime. But then Chastain, who is giving Gragson a push, sees the smallest of holes open to the inside of Gragson, makes a move. The hole closes. Gragson gets sent into the wall. Kyle Larson gets spun and then comes back up the trap and gets absolutely pounded by Ryan Preece. I mean, the damage to that 5 car, the passenger side door, I mean, the roll cage was broke on the passenger side of the car. I shudder to think what would have happened had that been a driver's side impact. So thankfully, both drivers were okay. I mean, I know I've been hard on Priest in recent weeks, but the last thing I want to see is, anybody getting hurt. So, and that was a hard impact. I mean, when you see the in-car camera from Ryan Priest's in-car, that was a hard hit. And he even said himself, that was probably the hardest lick that he ever took in a Cup car. If that tells you anything. So we get another freaking overtime. Several cars had to actually come in for fuel because they were really, really tight on fuel, and they were really hoping that it didn't go to overtime. So then we get the final restart. Kyle Busch gets a great jump, gets out to the lead, but then Bubba Wallace makes a great move around the outside to take the lead from him. They're coming to the white flag. He's got Ryan Blaney right behind him. And then in turn one, Blaney tries to make a move. Bubba blocks it. He tries to make a move again. Bubba blocks it again. And this time he gets turned. And this takes out a lot of the field. So yet again, we had another fucking overtime caused complete and total chaos at a super speedway race. This feels exactly like what happened at Daytona. Almost down to the T. Except this time you had Kyle Busch winning it. And did he back into this one? Perhaps. But he was in position to win it. And he managed to get by the spinning car of Bubba Wallace, and that was pretty much all she wrote. So Kyle Busch gets his second victory of the season driving for Richard Childress Racing. And the first time he's won at Talladega since 2008. So it has been 15 years since Kyle Busch has been to victory lane at Talladega. I really don't have anything else to say. I mean, if you want how I feel about the overtimes and all this other shit, all you have to do is go back and watch the Xfinity review from earlier today. Because, I mean, I don't have the fucking energy to do it anymore. It's like that song that I was playing at the beginning of this review. Why do I even try anymore? Why? This race was shaping up to be a good race. I was finally going to get to talk about a positive race for once this season. And we get another bungled finish. I mean, I've already said that the overtimes need to go away and that people need to stop doing these dumb shit blocks at the end of these races. Today's Cup race at Talladega only further proved my point. Hence the title of this episode, I rest my case. And that's all I really gotta say. Race results. Kyle Busch with the win, Ryan Blaney second, Chris Buescher third, Chase Briscoe. Despite having that problem, he came back to finish fourth. Brad Keselowski, he was actually involved in that final crash, but was able to keep the car rolling. Ended up with a top 5. Eric Jones comes home 6th, William Byron 7th, Christopher Bell 8th, Daniel Suarez 9th, and Todd Gilliland rounds out the top 10. So good job by those guys. So here are the point standings. After 10 races, Christopher Bell leads the point standings by 11 over Ross Chastain. You have Kevin Harvick in 3rd, just 20 points back. Larson in 4th. Kyle Busch with the win moves up to 5th. I mean, he's firmly entrenched in the playoff picture now. You have Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Alex Bowman in the top 10. And then the rest of the top 20, you have Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., William Byron, Chase Briscoe, who's actually coming off his 3rd straight top 5, so good job for Briscoe, and that's with a broken finger, too. that he recently had surgery on. Chris Buescher is in 16th. He came home with a top 5 run. Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell, and Ty Gibbs, who sees his top 10 streak come to an end simply because he ran out of gas on that first overtime, which really screwed him over. He was actually running pretty good. I mean, he was actually driving pretty good. So, that's just bad luck that he ran out of fuel. That's all you can really say. As for my final rating for the GEICO 500 at Talladega, yet again, we're thinking what could have been. And, I mean, it certainly has the numbers to back it up. I mean, when you look at the stats again, 57 lead changes, 34 pure lead changes, 15,000 green flag passes. I mean, that's insane. That's insane numbers. But the finish just absolutely kills it. It absolutely kills this race. I wanted to give this race an 8, possibly even a 9, was what it was going towards. If we had gotten that green flag run to end the race and not gotten that fucking caution on lap 184, this race probably would have been given at least an 8, maybe even a 9. But as it stands, the best that I can do is a 6. It's still a good number, but we need to try to do something about the finishes of these races, because having total fucking crash fests to end these races is just it's not appealing to me at all. And it ruined a perfectly good race. I mean, it's some of the side-by-side racing, the tandem or the double choo-choo. I mean, there were times when it was like, yeah, they couldn't really go anywhere, but I mean, the race was fine. The race was fine. And, we had all the numbers to back it up. All I wanted was a good finish. A good finish with some, good quality side-by-side racing. Maybe even a photo finish. That would have been nice. Just to cap off what was a very, very solid Talladega race. That's all I wanted. And it didn't happen yet again. And guess where we're going next week? Dover. One of the worst fucking tracks on the circuit. At least we're only going there once a year now, but we're at that point where we have to go to it once again. So I am not looking forward to next week whatsoever. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think anymore. Like, I'm just sick and fucking tired of just sitting and watching these races for hours on end and feel like I'd come out of it with nothing. Because we yet again got another fucking bullshit finish. Shit needs to change. But that's going to do it for this edition of The Field. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, this is the Packerman signing out. I hope next week is better, but I don't foresee it with it being at Dover. But I've been surprised before. See you next time. This video is sponsored by Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. Click on the link in the description and use the code PACKERMAN to save 10% on any order. What's happening, ladies and germs? Thank you for watching tonight's video. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, there is a link to my Patreon down in the description box below. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe if you want to continue watching great content like you saw today. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, this is the Packerman signing out.